Hopefully, I think everything's recording now. I know my voice is. I know your voice is being captured. So
Don't capture my voice.
that went really fucking loud, apparently. How are you, though? How's things?
Yeah, I'm all right. Saw my granddad today. It's nice to see him. Give him a little cheeky hug. But you are allowed to now, I suppose.
Yeah.
And yeah, then got back and took Doug's out, and then just got back about 3, and then just been sitting here writing some stuff down for this.
Oh, fair dues.
Yeah.
That's good, man.
Yeah. How's your day been?
It's not been bad, you know. It's been pretty good. I actually managed to get. I thought when I came over here, I was like, my sleeping pattern's fucked when I come over here. Like I thought I was going to be up all night. It was going to be a pain in the ass, but actually it wasn't too bad. I actually had pretty good amount of sleep.
Excellent.
I feel refreshed. And then Vic was kind enough to pick some stuff up from the shop and drop it off to me. I was like, oh.
Nice.
It's also Marcus's stuff. So. So yeah.
Got to get them healthy snacks, right?
Oh, I know. I've been eating so healthy now, and then today I'm just like, nah. I'm gonna have Monster. I'm gonna have sweets. I'm gonna fuck it all up. All the progress I've made.
Unleash the beast.
Yeah, exactly. I think it'll be a good time. Hello. If you're watching, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed our little conversation, then hit the like button. It's always appreciated. Yeah.
Wait, keep it.
As always, I'm joined by Sean. As you know, these are the two people that keep you company for a few hours talking bollocks.
Hello.
Let's just start calling the podcast waffling shit.
We turned into Loose Man, which is quite good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty much the same layout as previous weeks. We're talking a little about lockdown first,
Yep.
Followed by the news, followed by a bit of gaming and films, and then
Yeah,
maybe a bit of switch up at the end.
We got a bit of a switch up this week. We're going to just go into some topics of discussion. So I've got a few, and then obviously if you've got anything you want to talk about too, we can.
Yeah.
It'll be good.
Okay, a tiny bit prepared.
Yeah, I weren't prepared to shit for this. Like I had nothing.
Hey, I've been writing notes down for about 45 minutes. So.
Oh, that's good.
Got
These are all fresh. They're all fresh in your mind too.
Yeah, I feel like I've got everything down here. So yeah, lockdown.
Yeah. Okay, so there's been a few good things this week that have been announced for Wales as well. But what have you got? What are we starting with?
Well, I did mention the Welsh thing, but there is.
Oh shit! Pardon. That's right. That's what happens when I drink fizzy things for the first time in like a week and a half.
July 4th is when hospitality and personal care businesses can reopen in England. So that should be all right. I mean, not that I really miss restaurants and stuff, and
Yeah.
I mean, takeout is available for most places now anyway, and personal care. I mean, we're sorting this out at some point. So
Yeah,
that'll be good.
The hair at this point is it's pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie.
If I could do it myself, I would. I'm not letting my mum near my hair with a pair of scissors.
I would shave the sides of my head, but I'll fuck it up. I know.
Yeah, if you just accidentally got that millimeter too far, it just looks like idiot.
Ridiculous hair for like a months and months.
But yeah, and Welsh rules are obviously changed on Monday. I don't know if you can elaborate a little bit more.
Yeah, so there's a few rules that are changing. Technically, the changes are meant to come through on the 6th of July. So the idea is that we can travel as far as we want for exercise and stuff. But they are changing it so that on Monday we can go and visit like elderly family members, and there are exceptions to the rule for the next 2 weeks. So I'm kind of glad of that, man. I've missed seeing my grandparents. I'll be honest, I haven't really been listening to the rules when it comes to that, but
Yeah.
It'll be nice to be able to go and see them and actually be able to spend a bit of time with them, as long as they keep the distance. Although it's so difficult, man, with grandparents because they don't get it. They come up to you, they're like, "Oh, trying to give you a hug." Like my granddad kept touching my back and stuff. I'm like,
my back.
I'm like trying to dodge him like Neo from the Matrix. I'm like, you can't touch me. But yeah, no, It's good. I'm glad they are implementing these changes because I think slow and steady is the best way to do it.
Yeah, Wales have been seemingly a lot more careful than England with that regard. I believe they're opening some non-essential retail as well on Monday.
Yeah, which I thought was cool. I think that's a good as long as the retail can stick to the rules. I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I think the economy. I think we're like the furthest the UK has ever been in like financial debt now. I think it's gone up by 100.6% or something like that. It's been mad. So it's like the biggest financial crisis that we've had in the UK since like World War Two.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good thing. I think it does need to happen, but as long as people stick to it, it's that thing, isn't it? It's just stick to the rules. It's fine, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, well, now that we've had a few weeks in England of it being like that, then I've been out today, and it just seems like it's back to normal now. To be quite honest, people don't really seem to be that bothered. It's I've said it before, the British thing of people going, "Oh, it's great for a few weeks," and then all of a sudden it gets boring now. So people are kind of just getting fed up and frustrated. And I mean, there is still a social distancing rule in place, but obviously that might be reducing at some point next week for England. But we'll see.
I think it's going to be an interesting thing to see how having these little bit of restrictions like sort of lifted, how much respect people are going to give to this stuff. Like, are they going to be respectful of it? The fact these rules are now okay, like there are more things that are okay now. Are they going to stick to that, or are they going to kind of just take advantage of that and try and get away with things and whatnot? I think that's the scary bit of it.
I think the people who are in charge and the people who make the rules, they know that what the public is like. They know that if they set the bar here, the public will go here. And so I think they're aware that might happen. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe they've got it all planned out. Right.
Overall, I would say, though, I think it is a good thing that they've done this.
Yeah.
I think it's going to definitely help the economy a lot. I think people are going to end up wanting to go out and spend money. I think the only thing people are going to complain about is like, oh, well, if you're opening shops and stuff, why can't pubs and things be open but have like the distance rule and stuff? It's like, well, a shop and a pub completely different.
Yeah. A pub is a place where you go to socialise.
You're not exactly going to keep distance in there.
No, and as much as they might try with barriers and all these kind of things, if you get drunk, I mean, there's like a thing I read that they're going to limit the amount of drinks that you can have to like 3 or something, so you don't get drunk, that you don't break the rules. I don't know. But yeah, can you imagine the locals around you at the pub socially distancing?
No. I mean,
same around here.
You've been to Wales. You've been around the people when they're drunk in that.
Rough as a dog's ass.
It doesn't work. Like, you walk into Witherspoons, a randomer will hug you and say, "You're such a great lad," and then walk off. Don't know why they're Irish or slightly. Like, I don't know, but yeah, I mean, yeah, no, I think. I do kind of think they're jumping the gun on some things. I'm kind of glad they're not opening up like tattoo parlors and hairdressers and stuff. It's at least they kind of understand that's not a thing. But I believe there are some hairdressers. Like in England, I think they're opening up a few hairdressers. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I think Wales is still quite...
I think that's on July the 4th. I'm not sure. Well, I mean, some hairdressers are open, but not legally. So, yeah.
But then if they can afford to pay the fine of it, what have they got instead of,
Obviously, there'll be a booming business because there's a demand for it. So
exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I've got friends who've had their haircut. I was like, "Where the hell did you get your haircut?" And they were like, "Oh yeah, I just went into my usual, but round the back." Okay, a bit dodgy.
I went round the back.
I went round the back and got a shave.
Oh, that's awesome. And you want to say, where did you get your haircut? Oh, I went around the back of my regulars.
Or around the back of my local.
My local hairdresser wanted me to go around the back.
The hair is still being cut.
Yeah. No, I mean, I get it because obviously there are businesses like hairdressers, like tattooists, and including retailers and stuff like Game or anything like that. It's nuts because like it is a difficult situation. Like they need to open up because they need to be able to pay the bills. These companies need to make money. But like I think my cousin today got an email about how the Costa he works at, which is in MacArthur Glen, is actually going to be reopening on the 6th because it's a non-essential retailer essentially. Costa, even though there's loads of Costas open and whatever, but I think it's like they started the big stuff in England, like this kind of like opening of like Costas and shops, and then they're bringing it to to Wales, and I think the one in Bridgend Town Centre as well, the Costa down there is going to be reopening as well. So if stuff like that's opening, I don't know what your kind of take on this is, but I feel like other sort of non-essential retailers, for instance, like the indoor markets and things like that, they're going to be like, well, I know we're indoors, but if they can open, we need to reopen because we're missing out on business and money now.
Yeah, well, they've been slowly reopening things for like every month now, so I suppose it could get to August time. I think just everything will be allowed to open as long as they comply with the rules at that time.
Yeah.
And it's like, will they be able to sit in and have their coffee, or will it just be takeout?
Yeah, that's another.
I believe it's all takeout at the moment, but
yeah. Well, I think it comes out a tricky thing, doesn't it? Is there a way to get people in there, sitting down 2 meters apart safely, with people there with, but not intruding on other people's space? And when people are coming in, how do people go out, like, safely? Is it going to be monitored? So many questions.
Yeah, that's what I've seen today. Like people queued outside all these non-essential shops, and then they stood right by the door. And then as someone comes out, passing them shoulder to shoulder, then they go in. Like, what is the what's the point?
And the thing is, this is a mad story as well, and this kind of links into what we're talking about now. Is that young people will understand these rules, but the older generation, and I'm not shitting on the older generation, like they can't help it, a lot of them, but they don't understand these rules and these separation rules and the distance stuff. Like when Vic was in the shop, like when she came to drop the stuff off to me, she was talking to me about how this old woman was right up her arse, basically 24/7 walking around shop, and the only way Vic could get her to get away from her was by making a scene and getting really annoyed with her. And she was like, I didn't want to, but this woman just didn't understand why it wasn't okay, and none of the staff were helping her either.
No.
So it's like,
I think there must be some kind of underground rule where everyone just doesn't care anymore.
I don't know if it's that, or if it's like, oh, they're old, they don't.
Yeah,
that's even
that.
more fucking important because the older generation are the vulnerable ones. So it's like, it's that's the thing that kind of makes me think I don't want places to open up.
Yeah, so it's even more important for everyone else to kind of stick by the rules to protect and shield them who don't really get it.
Exactly. And the thing is, how are we meant to protect them if they're not even listening to the rules?
Yeah.
No one is helping us to enforce them. Especially people that work in the shops who are just like, it's fine, We're just making money.
Yeah, we need people inside. We need to restart the economy. But yeah, you say about young people, although near me, last weekend, there was 2 raves that I went on in Manchester.
Right.
Outdoor raves with hundreds of young people gathering. A girl was raped. 2 people were stabbed at these things.
Jesus.
And yeah, so apparently the same again this weekend.
Bloody hell. Oh, they've already planned that's going to be the same times this weekend.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I shouldn't really laugh at it, but like this is the problem. See, is that. And it's such a tricky topic to talk about, especially with everything that's going on in the world right now. It's like, either the police need to be a hell of a lot more aggressive with their methods, or they just need to, like, just start finding, like, I'm surprised, like, this track and tracing thing that was talked about earlier this year, that got trialled in the Isle of Wight, that's now being said, that's not going to be ready till next year. 2021. Like, by that point, it'd be no fucking point. I feel
they tried to blame Apple, was it?
I feel like they're going backwards, not fucking forwards, I don't get it. I just don't get it, because they were making so much progress, and now they're going, fuck the progress, we need to open up, and you want to rave? You rave, man, Oh, what's that? That woman's complaining about a man, it's fine, man, like, I don't get it, it's ridiculous.
And, like, the track and trace system they have now, it's like, oh, great, if you're not doing anything apart from being with people you know. But if you're sat next to someone on the tube, how do you know their name and address?
Yeah, well, you just meant to turn to them and be like, sorry,
I'm
next to you on the tube now. Can I have your
just in case
your address, where you live, your parents' numbers and addresses? So, why do you want to know?
Just in case I give you coronavirus.
Come after you. So, no. If it was me sitting on the thing and someone had to use the tracking and tracing thing, they're like, oh, well, since I've sat next to you, can I have your name, your address, your number, whatever? I'd be like, no.
Yeah.
Like, you can't. Like, I don't understand how that's, I think, why it's taken so long for them to do
that's where the app would have come in handy for that kind of thing.
I think it failed as well. I think they didn't actually tell us how the app went on the Isle of Wight. I can't remember if it's the Isle of Wight or the Isle of Man. But
one of them.
They never even talked about it afterwards, man. It was nuts. Oh, hi, Marcus.
Yeah.
You got off the phone?
Yes.
Oh, Did you tell her about your battery?
No.
Marcus, pull up a pew. Pull up a pew, dog. My cat.
Hello.
Yeah.
What were we talking about? The app.
Ah, yeah. Tracking and tracing app.
Apparently, they said the Android one was working all right and it tracked distance a bit better, but the Apple one did not track distance. So apparently, Android is working. So now they're handing it over to Google and Apple to
Make it better.
to develop the app. So that's why it's going to be ready in winter or next year.
The tracking and tracing app that supposedly was meant to come out this year and never did.
Tracking and tracing.
Yeah, so with the coronavirus and stuff, they were going to bring out the tracking and tracing app, so you could track who you've been around and stuff, and it would give the data back.
Oh,
and it failed, and now they're like, we've given it to Google. They'll fix it, right? Oh, fucking hell. This is why I need to do an episode of this with you.
Chinese in the military for a reason.
Bloody hell. But yeah, no, I mean, I hope they get something in place, especially since they're opening stuff up. I mentioned how you had a message off work and stuff, how you're going back. So I don't know. I feel like there's a lot more work that needs to be done, but they've kind of run out of time. They were kind of putting it off, it's fine. We've got plenty of time.
Time and patience, yeah.
Yeah, especially
So yeah, next thing, a UK-based study found a steroid treatment, dexamethasone, reduces mortality rate by 20% when treating coronavirus. So that's promising news, right?
Yeah.
And it's UK-based. Woo!
Look at that. We are the best.
Yeah.
I think with this new drug that's obviously been released and stuff and is meant to be coming out to help sort of deal with COVID-19 and all that, I think, I don't know, it's only helping with the mortality rate. It's not really doing anything other than that. So I feel like there's a lot more work that needs to be done on it. Giving it to people is one thing, but you've got to think about the long-term effects and the after effects and stuff as well.
Well, it's apparently only beneficial to people who are in critical care situations. So if you take it as a preventative measure, it doesn't work at all. But yeah. But the fact that it's cheap, widely available, and they can get it easily, and it reduces some deaths.
That's what's going to happen on the black market now. It's just, hey, do you want to buy some?
Oh yeah, they're trying to skip. This is the good shit.
It'll stop you dying.
Well, they've got people buying fake COVID tests.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
Yeah. Ridiculous. Why would you?
And yet, I suppose the last thing which I have is reducing the distance from 2 meters to 1 meters. Do you think that is a good decision based off the World Health Organization's advice?
Reducing the distance from 2 meters to 1 meters. Boris tried to push this through and it failed. It got pushed back. They were like, "Are you having a laugh, mate?" So, I don't think they should. Not yet, anyway. It's not the time to be. I mean, people don't listen to it anyway, as it is, and you lower it to 1 meter, people are just going to push their luck and be like, fuck it, why not?
I mean, the issue inherent here is that in Britain, you can't label someone as an expert because everybody already thinks they're an expert on the subject matter at hand.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? I am an expert.
Anybody goes to the spa.
So much I'm going to have to be like, snip, snip.
Bleep, bleep.
Yeah, literally. But no, I mean, as for the 2 meter rule, I think there's a lot that comes under it as well. If you're going to lower the 2 meter rule, then you may as well open up pubs, bars, and stuff like that. Because they've said if they could function on a 1 meter rule, they could function on that. They can't function on 2 meters, but they can function on 1 meter because it's even less space, it's safer, it's easier to maintain the 1 meter than 2. So if they were going to lower the 1 meter, they may as well open up pubs and bars and stuff as well, because that's essentially what you're allowing. So, I mean, I think if they want to do it, they can. I know that the R rate now is between something like, I think it's an average of 0.7 in the UK. So, I mean, fuck it. They've already started to say that they're going to open non-retail stuff. So,
with all the riots and stuff that have been going on, well, the riots, the protests that have been going on. We should have seen a spike by now or in the next few days, and if there isn't, then just open it all up. And my God, my dog has broken wind and it smells atrocious in here. But
the dog is ripped and it stinks.
I was just trying to not breathe through my nose then, but it's Right. Is there anything else on lockdown that you wanted to add?
I don't think it's so much on lockdown. I did have I think the only thing that I've got left now. Oh no, I've got two things actually. The first thing, because it was in the news, was the fact that Little Britain and a number of other, like Little Britain is basically being targeted to have its show basically ripped down completely, and never shown again because of the Black Lives Matter movement. The fact that blackface was in it. Both the main cast have come out and apologised as well and said that their jokes were insensitive and they won't ever do something like that again. I think they actually did a nod to it when they did that. You remember that sort of short of Little Britain they did because of the COVID-19? The one where they were dressing up as ladies and went, "I'm a lady." And went, I don't think we can do this. Yeah, they kind of made a nod to it there. Like they know that their humour has changed and stuff, but. Even with the changing of shows, because Gavin and Stacey was also told they wanted that to be chucked off and removed because of certain characters in it, like Chinese Alan, and I think
like the extreme.
The mother described one of the characters as the big black fella. Because of that, people want it removed. I mean, personally, I think it's fucking ridiculous. I mean, it's a part of comedy at the time. Okay, maybe it's a bit insensitive. But I mean, that's the really extreme side of it. You know, they didn't put those in there to be racist or offensive.
It's kind of getting to the point for me where it's like you're trying to censor the past, but if you censor the past, then there's nothing for the future generations to learn about what we shouldn't do.
Yeah, we talked about that last week.
Yeah, last week we said something about if you can't really take down the statues, but more like put a plaque next to them explaining what it is this person has done. Truthfully, and that people can learn from it, you know.
I think that's the thing, is you have to be able to learn from your past. At the end of the day, there's plenty of comedians, there's plenty of people that have done things or made a joke or made a show which, I mean, Christ, there's plenty of Disney things you could point out from the past that would wreck their career today. Like the entire Disney in that case, if you're taking shit like that, don't get rid of Disney, because they were one of the most racist motherfuckers back in the day. That's essentially what, to me, it kind of sounds like. You know, you're taking, just because something was done in the past, they have to be like that forever. It's like, no, people change, people evolve. That's also part of what the Black Lives Matter movement is for people to take it more seriously and be like, hey, this is a conversation we've been having for a while now, but enough is enough. We can't just kind of push it around or push it out of view anymore. It's something we have to look at and focus on and fix.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think it's a bit silly that they want Little Britain and all that taken off. But
I mean, statues I'm not too bothered about, because I never actually realised that there was a statue like that in Brighton. I mean, who looks at statues anyway these days? But yeah, when they start to take down music and films and all this stuff that is now just escalating, it's just a bit like, you know, come on now.
It's getting a bit silly.
If we took down everything that was offending someone, then we would have nothing left. So,
well, not everyone's done something shady in their past or said something or other. You know. I know I've made some questionable jokes.
Really?
I make questionable jokes every day. That's like my career.
Yes, that's how you live your life. But yeah, I think I got one more thing, which was there's one food factory in England and two in Wales that got shut down because they had massive COVID-19 outbreaks. I kind of wanted to get your opinion on that, because it's one of those things. They got pushed to open it back up because they were running out of products for meat and stuff, and because they got pushed to open it up, three big factories, three of the biggest factories, actually got shut. That stinks. got shut down because
Monster and bull semen, my favorite.
because they were pushed to open it up, they ended up having outbreaks in them. Is that kind of something that we should be looking at and going, well, that happened in such a small area, is it going to happen if we're trying to push everything else out?
Well, when it comes to the food industry, things got to be extra careful, I suppose. Like, more measures should be taken, because if they're supplying the big supermarket chains with chicken, I think it was a chicken factory or something. But yeah, there shouldn't be outbreaks there. There should be a super strict hygiene there, and maybe it's inevitable, but yeah. So it's not good, but it's happened now.
That's true. It has.
So yeah.
What's the next topic we're on about? Because I was deliberately withholding my comments on riots.
I farted. Right, okay. So the next stuff we talk about now normally is games. Normal news. Go for it. Well, we actually got. I haven't got anything for normal news. What have you got?
I'm going to be talking about the Hong Kong protests.
The Hong Kong protests. Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know how Marcus will feel about that one. But we're talking about
I won't let him talk for this bit.
Don't let him talk. Silence him.
I don't know about the Hong Kong protests.
Neither do I, actually. What are these things?
Yeah. So, are we starting now?
Yeah. Go nuts.
All right, okay. So, obviously, there's the Hong Kong protests, which have been in the news fairly recently. They've not been in the news as much as the bigger protests that are going on right now.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
They're there.
Basically, you don't know what's going on. The Chinese government is basically making Hong Kong citizens feel like second-class citizens. The Chinese government passed a bill to allow extradition to mainland China in kind of criminal aspects. Until 1997, Hong Kong was ruled by Britain before it was returned to China. They had a separate jurisdiction where they allowed freedom of speech and assembly in Hong Kong. The bill was withdrawn due to the recent protests, but violence continued. There's been so much violence. 18-year-old was shot in the chest with live bullets by the police. Protesters from both sides set on fire.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's been horrific, like the brutality there. And we haven't really heard much about it.
Yeah, well, I'm not surprised. China has a habit of keeping things on stum.
So the point of this, I suppose, is there's more than just one house on fire right now. I don't want to take away from the Black Lives Matter movement, but where is the public support for these people?
Yeah.
Could it be because there's a lot of businesses and a lot of money in China?
China.
Who knows?
China.
Just act like Trump. Where is the help for the Chinaman? Oh, that's
part of the issue is it's for a lot of people it's difficult to like have the scope to look at this many things all going on at once. Like a lot of people like to just focus on things that they already know and understand. Like a lot of people probably don't really look at Chinese politics, but they see Black Lives Matter and go, "I know what that is."
Yeah.
Let's talk about this.
Yeah,
I think it really is just that simple.
Yeah, I think it's just that it's tricky because the thing is stuff. One set of people are going to be protesting about is not going to be as popular or as well known as other things that people are protesting about. But every protest is important. It matters. It needs to be heard. But the other difficulty they have is that it's in Hong Kong, and although I'm very aware of geography of it all and whatnot, but China has a huge reach that goes over to Japan, every kind of continent in that area. Because they just do. The other law that was changed that they were trying to push. I don't know the specifics on X. I can't remember.
The one that stops you from buying non-food animals at animal food markets.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah. So it was essentially China trying to push their way into I believe it was around Hong Kong and stuff like that again. And they were kind of like a big backlash. And obviously Boris came out and said there's going to be 3 million people that can come over to Britain to be safe and whatever. And China were like, we not like you. So it's I don't know. It's tricky because I think what the issues that they're protesting for are seriously important and they need to be heard and they need to be talked about. But you can't talk about every single bloody issue going on every day because there's so many.
I suppose this was kind of just a little thing to kind of backlash against people who say, "Oh, it's only the black people who are being oppressed right now." Like it's not. It's not to take away from obviously the movement, which is very important. We know about that. We've spoken about it in previous weeks. But,
definitely.
Yeah, there's a lot of people being oppressed right now, and yes, Hong Kongers, we are on. We are thinking about you right now.
We are. It's still there, but I think the problem for me is obviously I didn't know about the Hong Kong riots and stuff, and that's just simply because everything is pointing towards like Black Lives Matter right now, and obviously the coronavirus is still a thing going on, and people are sort of, I think, slowly forgetting about that. But yeah, no, I mean,
it's interesting what the news picks up, what kind of makes the most money.
Yeah, it's going to get them the most clicks.
I would like to weigh in here on the subject of the Black Lives Matter protests, because
okay, go on.
There's something that's just kind of vexed me about it, right? In London, they're defacing the cenotaph, right?
Well, yeah.
I'm just wondering why, because I understand World War II happened in an era where black people weren't treated equally.
Yeah.
However, the monument is for people who fought and died alongside black people whose sacrifice was just as meaningful, regardless of race, and it was to topple a fascist regime. And I think it's just a bit unfair to deface, something that's just such a powerful symbol of justice.
Yeah, I guess we have to remember that it's just the extremists of both sides that are kind of defacing the statues, I suppose. Yeah. Well, I mean, there's outlash against the colonists and the slave traders, but I suppose that's understandable.
I think another big thing, a part of it, is also being educated on it. I think it's stuff like people hear like one side of it, but they don't know the rest of the meaning to something as well. It's like how we talked about certain statues that were getting ripped down and stuff. We were like, we get it. These people also did have another side to them that was racist or was, not an equalist kind of person. But you can't just. It comes back to that thing. You can't just take away the history because you don't like it.
Yeah.
It's still there. It's still a part of it, and it's still a part of the conversation. Yes, that statue probably does have some, sort of racist or racism meaning connected to it, but the main vocal point of that statue is to, as you said, it was a big part in history, and it's to
massive part, yeah.
It's to give back to these people that risk their lives to basically give what we have today, essentially, and a load of other things as well. The conversation we could have, just let alone about the statues that are being taken down and shit, could go on for hours. There's so much to it, and I think it's just a shame that people aren't educating themselves properly on stuff. They're just kind of going, get rid of it because there's something I don't like linked to it.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest shame of it all.
I suppose I'd just point out, like the 90% of the protesters are peaceful, and you only pick up on the people on the news that are trying to tear down these things. I don't think like attacking World War II statues and stuff like that. They're not the people who are trying to push this whole movement. It's like the extremists, the movement. I mean, there was a far right campaigner or something. He pissed on a police grade or something. Yeah. It's like disgusting on both sides. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the thing that needs to be part out there as well, is the fact that the news is focusing on this 1% of people that are acting like jackasses. There's 99% of people that are protesting to get a better world,
genuine change.
Yeah, and are doing it in a peaceful, protesting way. It's just these 1% people, unfortunately, that the news is like, we need to report on that. Forget about the nice people. Go for the bad people, because that's where clicks come from. And it's like a one-sided argument then constantly it's about good and bad.
We can't talk about these nice people who are saying, I really don't like the way that police officers are killing black people for no reason. Can't talk about that. No, we've got to talk about the people who bring down Walmart because we're edgy.
Yeah, exactly. It's like taken away from the actual conversation that should be going on.
I just think it's kind of shit that, like, humans have come so far as a species, yet we still just can't view each other as equals.
Yeah, it's
like,
ridiculous.
imagine, like, if we could all view each other as just an equal, instead of disputing over like location, religion, race, sexuality, we could achieve genuinely so much as a species.
It's such a shame that the world is still so one-viewed instead of
limited.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, don't get me wrong, the world has changed dramatically. Like the actors that we have now today, some of the biggest actors are ethnic minorities. You've got Morgan Freeman, Samuel Jackson, but and even slowly, there are other minorities and ethnic minorities that are coming into the limelight. There's actors in Doctor Strange that are really well known that are from China and stuff as well. It works out really, really well, and it's getting better, but unfortunately that message is being pushed away because people are, like, as you said, destroying property and shitting on the movement, essentially, which is meant to be helpful. Instead, they're taking advantage of it and going, I can get a new motor or a new fucking TV or something from looting,
Yeah, I read something, I don't know how much merit is in this, it's purely speculative, but like the actual leaders of the Black Lives Matter movement, they're like completely, they're like a different kind of strand against the whole like supporting black people. They're kind of like in it for the business and the money side of it, and they're going to push that agenda no matter what.
Yeah,
so I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just speculative. That's not a fact.
Yeah. I think that's it. I don't think there's any more for that kind of stuff.
That's it for what I've got for the news anyway.
Yeah. So
shall we move on to games?
Gaming now. So gaming stuff. Anything that you've been playing this week, Sean? Anything that's
I've been playing. Before we talk about the big gaming PlayStation event, I suppose that's been happening. I suppose I've been playing a lot of Dead by Daylight.
Dead by Daylight.
Yeah, it's essentially you can play as the killer or you play as the survivor, and you can go around preparing generators and trying to escape, basically. And they recently released a new Silent Hill update, so you got the Pyramid Head as a killer now. So that is pretty cool.
What's your kind of take on Dead by Daylight?
Oh, dude, I picked it up like ages ago for Christmas sale. After I bought it, I realized, hang on a minute, I know no one who plays this.
Yeah,
I like to play it, but
it's so much better with friends.
I like to play it with my friends rather than just random people who are screaming like "Suka, Suka, play!"
Oh god,
it's like CS:GO.
You may have noticed. You will hear a lot of meme references from this man.
Yes, I think I've watched some of his videos.
Yeah, exactly. Check out his channel below. But yeah, no, I played a bit of Dead by Daylight. I played a bit of it. I think probably not last year, but the year before that, in 2018, I played a bit. It is a good game. It's fun to play with friends, but I think if I wasn't playing it with mates, I probably wouldn't even last a full game. I think the entertainment comes from playing it with mates and things like that. I think it's definitely a more a friends kind of group night in.
For me, it's kind of like, I know it came before Friday the 13th, like the game, but for me it had very much the same appeal because I played Friday the 13th the game first, and that was when I was still on Xbox and I had we could get a full lobby on that, and that was fun.
Yeah, that game, that is a game.
I'm so gutted that game got
I have so many videos of that on the channel. Friday the 13th is everywhere.
Game.
It is a great game with mates and stuff. I definitely want to play it a bit more with you and Robin as well, because I know there's like a few. I know they've got a Saw character on there. They got like Pigface and stuff, and they got
Ghostface as well.
Ghostface. It's really, really cool. So I definitely want to play a bit more of it.
Surprised they got the licensing for all of that stuff. Like they've got Ash from Evil Dead and Ghostface, everything. That Friday the 13th and Dead by Daylight, kind of a genre of their own. It's like fun games, about party games almost.
Party games, yeah. Great. Oh no, there you go. Lockdown games, because you can play them online and you don't have to be in the same room as each other. There you go.
Can wear speedos.
Yeah, you can pretend to be Chad from Friday the 13th and just sit in speedos and play them. Even better.
This is so nice. D&D Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
So what have you been playing apart from the big one?
Well, we'll talk about the big one in the end. But I've been playing Assassin's Creed Unity. I've been starting to play through that, and I'm still a bit mixed on it, to be honest. There's some really good stuff about it. I definitely the fighting to it took me a little bit of a while to get used to, because it is a different mechanical system, and it's less forgiving, less forgiving. I can see why they went back to their old one in Syndicate.
No more counting spam. No more counter spam.
You literally can't in that game. You have to be so like timed and precise. And I hated it at first, but I've actually come to love it. It's a nice change. The game itself, though, is optimized awfully, runs like ass. The servers are all shut down, so I can't do any of the online stuff, which I get. Like, I completely understand. I do like the customization for your character. The fact that you get new gear and you can upgrade it and stuff, that really shows. I'll be honest, I think Unity was the one that really pushed them to try and make like Origins and Odyssey, I feel, because there's a lot of different things they did in... I know in Assassin's Creed Syndicate, I believe there's like an upgrade tree, and there's a lot of stuff in that as well. But this is where they started to really push the boundaries with Assassin's Creed and make it a better, more broad game. So I think it's a good game. I think people gave it a lot of shit when it came out, definitely. But I think you can only judge a game so far on like glitches and bugs and how broken it is.
I mean, I think that's purely because like Assassin's Creed up until that point was purely single player. And then
well, sort of. I mean, Brotherhood had kind of like
Yeah, they dabbled in the multiplayer bit.
Yeah, and then every Assassin's Creed had like sort of a multiplayer aspect to it. It just wasn't very good. But ACU was like the first one to kind of really push that and be like, hey, it's an integral part now. You can have like social clubs. You can have other friends come and join you, and you can go around like a team and a club and
stab people in the back together.
Yeah, hey man, it's cool. And I think it's a real big shame that I didn't play it soon enough to kind of experience the full scope of the game. But I think it's really good for what it is. I know it was your favorite. Or one of your favourite games because it was
probably one of my favourite Assassin's Creed games because it's like the first one I got on the next gen consoles, and I got it after the patch had been released to sort some of the bugs out, so I didn't really pick up on too much of the technical side of it, but I really liked the setting and the story was probably one of the better ones because I'm kind of a fan of like quality over quantity.
Yeah, definitely.
Because the Origins and Odyssey, they're kind of like so big that there's all these fetch quests and all this stuff. And I quite like a concise cinematic story, which is the Unity was probably the last one to actually do that, apart from Syndicate. But so yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting one. Different side quests and stuff to do as well. Different areas with different levels of gear and things. It was definitely, and it was a lot in a small area as well, which I like. It's not like travel like for 2 hours in one direction just to give someone a toxic flower that you had to pick off a dead man's ass. Like it's actually
what you describe Fallout 76.
Yeah, exactly. You have to. Everything you do in the game, like side quest stuff as well, actually kind of feels impactful, and it has like a mini story to it as well, which makes it better. Rage 2, that was a game I finished this week as well. Pretty good.
Played that yet.
Pretty good. I know it's a game that no one asked for because no one really liked Rage 1.
I liked Rage 1, to be fair.
I loved it. But if you're going to play Rage 2, I would say you're not playing it for the story, you're playing it for the gameplay. Like, the story is lackluster, boring, and basically is non-existent. But everything else about it, like the fighting, it has a Doom Eternal vibe to it because you can tell how they designed that one. 'Cause for those of you who don't know, it's Bethesda again, and I believe it.
Oh, dude, it just works.
Yeah, no, it is. It's like there's so many different. Like if you look at gameplay from Rage 2 and then look straight at Doom Eternal, you will see the similarities in the gameplay with special moves and like ripping people's limbs off and apart and stuff. It makes sense for like you can see they were testing stuff in Rage 2 to put it in Doom Eternal.
But is there 16 times the detail?
For fuck's sake. 16 times the detail.
Is that Todd Howard?
3 times the size of the Fallout format? Whatever the hell he said. Double the size
Hey, Fallout 76
format.
is good now.
I feel like it.
It's okay.
I'm just saying.
I definitely think that at least they've worked on it. So Fallout 76 is better than it was. Absolutely.
Haven't played Wastelanders patch, can't comment.
I would say it is pretty good.
Like I said, my entire gameplay of Fallout 76 consisted of me doing a jumping puzzle for 5 hours and then leaving the game forever.
Yeah.
Well, that may not be what the developers intended for that.
Yeah. Although the last game that I want to talk about is a game called Control, made by Remedy. I'm actually not going to say too much in this because I'm actually making a video on it as we speak. Mainly because I'm going to preface this by saying I love Alan Wake, hence why it's on my hand. I love that game. I'm looking forward to the second one. The second DLC for Control I'm looking forward to. Control itself, the game looks great. It runs actually really, really well. The destruction in it is outstanding.
Been talking about getting that, but
I've seen more fucking emotional acting from a main protagonist out of Kristen Stewart from Twilight. Seriously, the main protagonist in Control doesn't fucking look like... It's just constantly monotone. There's nothing to her, and I don't think it's the actress's fault. It's just the way they've... Everything else, like every other character, kind of looks good with the graphical faces and stuff. But the main characters... I guess constantly just fuck all else.
Mass Effect style, or
seriously, Mass Effect. It's not great.
At least it's not Mass Effect Andromeda where their face extends like 3 times the dimensions of the universe.
But yeah, no, Control's a good game. I would say to people, play it. Definitely pick it up when it's on deal, though. Don't pay full price for it. It's not worth full price. And the story is just, it's so all over the place that you can't really understand it. And I get where they were going with it because it is an interesting way of telling a story, like backwards, kind of like The Witcher did with the series. But
Pulp Fiction, the game,
kind of like Pulp Fiction, like interlocking and shit. But it just doesn't work. It falls flat in the face. It's not very good.
Yeah.
So, and it's also fucking repetitive. Go to this area, kill about 30 enemies, and then do another wave of 30 enemies, then another wave of 30. You're not the classic Doom. Don't try and recreate the classic Doom. It doesn't work in the 21st century because it's fucking boring. But
unless you do the Doom 2016 way / Doom Eternal way, where it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, but then the difference is that every location looks different.
That's true.
In Control, everything looks the fucking same.
And you've got the 5G cell towers that you rip the organs out of.
Yeah, well, there's like 4 or 5 different areas in Control, just repeated over and over and over, and it's fucking awful. I was playing through it with my mum, and it's just and there's difficulty spikes that come out of nowhere. There's no difficulty setting. It's just the way they make it harder is by throwing a number of fucking irritating enemies at you.
At least they kept the levels under control.
But yeah, it's a good game. I'll say that much. It is a good game. It's worth picking up, but just be aware of these issues with the game before you jump into it. If you liked Alan Wake, you'll be able to put up with Control just for the DLC for Alan Wake as well. But yeah,
nice.
Any gaming things you want to talk about?
Well, I mean, my entire gaming career right now consists of For Honor, Hearthstone, and then recently I picked up a new indie game called Hard Space Shipbreaker. Mm. That's actually quite relaxing as a game.
Chill game.
Yeah, you know, gameplay's pretty same. Except for when you forget to depressurize the airlock and then cut it open, and then it projects the airlock at you, sending you and the airlock into, you know, the deep reaches of space. Not epic. Not a lot of oxygen out there, as I discovered. But you know, it's pretty satisfying. You just cut ships apart, sell the shit, and try and get out of your debt to a corporation.
Kind of like a simulation game.
Oh yeah, very simulation. Like honestly, it's got like the craziest space physics I've ever seen.
Oh, fair dues.
Like it's so freakishly accurate.
Oh, nice.
You have to pull reactors and shit out, and as I learned, don't try and take it out of the airlock because it melts down and blows you and everything else to hell.
High heaven.
Yeah. It doesn't work.
Oh, fair dues. Anything else for your end, John?
Just briefly mention your favourite game, Division 2.
Division 2.
It recently released a title update. Was it 10, was it? Or 11?
Yeah.
It's added no new content, and I sent you a message about it, like, oh, I'm so excited for this, it's got nothing for us.
Yeah.
And they had a little oopsie as well.
A fucking little, massive. Fuck off. just stop. Stop making.
Yeah, so when as soon as they did the update, people bought the next season pass, and they accidentally got all of the rewards from it.
Yeah, all 100. So now you don't even need to play the game.
Little bug. So yeah, Division 2 can be put on the back burner for a while, I think it's safe to say.
I watch a game. I highly recommend people go and check out the channel Born to Game. He talks about Division 2 very passionately, like me and Sean, because we do love the game, but it's just the developers are assholes.
It had a lot of potential.
That game still does. If they could fucking just hand the IP off to someone else can fix the game. But
I mean, like, I played the first Division and I really enjoyed it, and then things just started happening, and I was like, why? Why would you do that?
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was. It was something to do with the Dark Zone. There was like a build on, I think, I can scarcely remember. It was like a security build, which basically made you like unkillable or something.
That's still a problem.
Super spongy.
Like,
still a problem in Div 2. Like me and the amount of times I've gone to Dark Zone just to go and do a mission or to pick some stuff up or whatever, or do like a challenge in there or whatever. You bump into someone that just wants to kill other players because they're dick.
Yeah, they can't balance PvP in that game.
It's impossible to kill them. You just can't kill them. They just one shot and you constantly over and over, and you're like, what the fuck? And then they start nerfing guns that no one uses. It's like, why are you making guns that no one uses worse? You should be encouraging them to use those guns.
Comes out the patch now, just like at the start of the game, nerfed, too strong.
There have been things as well. I think something that really annoyed the community, and Massive have tried scrubbing this from everywhere. But supposedly the new raid gear that you can get, so by doing the new raid, there's like a certain weapon and 2 pieces of gear that are linked to the raid. Someone just got them in the general loot pool, walking around and getting them, and it's like, I thought they were a great exclusive.
How do you fuck up that badly?
This is the thing as well. I'm just going to throw this out there, and then I won't talk about Div 2 anymore because I can go off on them for hours. But do not. If anyone who's watching this, if for some reason like you like the Div 2, you like Massive, whatever, if they tell you that the seasons are free, they're fucking not. You have to buy Warlords of New York to do the seasons. That is not free. That is a £25 expansion you have to pay for to be able to access the seasons. The seasons are not free. And then you're paying another £10 on top to be able to get a premium pass. Like, fuck off. That is just money grabbing at its finest.
Battle passes.
Exactly, yeah. No, it's
I
ridiculous.
can't wait for the Minecraft Battle Pass. I reckon that's going to be amazing.
Well, they've got Minecraft. Go and play Minecraft Dungeons. Apparently, that's really good.
I've heard mixed things about that.
I haven't.
I'm honestly waiting for Minesweeper Remastered.
For fuck. But yeah. Oh, last one that we were going to talk about. Unless you got something else, Sean. Is there anything else with Div 2?
No. Nope.
So, Last of Us 2 released. I stayed up until midnight to play it. Admittedly, I've only played 5 hours of it, and I will say this much about it: it's clearly made for PS5 and Xbox. Well, it's not going to come out on Xbox, but it's clearly made for PS5. Absolutely, the game still looks incredible. I'd say probably one of the best looking games ever created to this day. But you can tell they've pushed it so much that when the PS5 comes out, that game is going to be off the fucking charts. Like, I've only played 5 hours of the game, but it's insane.
I have a feeling that this game was I have a fear that it's so overhyped that it may not live up to everyone's expectations. It's apparently very divisive. I mean, there's some things that happen in there that people might not agree with.
Definitely.
But, it had a full house of 10 out of 10 like critic reviews, which is like almost unheard of in the gaming industry. Like people are accusing the critics of being paid off and all sorts. Crap. I mean, it may have been shown to be not true, but like people still have their speculations about it.
I think people are either going to love or hate this game. That's kind of what I've come to. Because when I was playing it, and as I said, I've only done about 5 hours of it, and that's story-wise because I've come across 2 open world areas as well, semi-open world areas. So I would say I've seen about 2.5, 3 hours of the story. And just in that 2.5, 3 hours of story, I think it's going to be very much a case of within those 3 hours, you're going to know whether or not you're going to like the story or the game. There's a number of things that happen just in that first little section of the game that are going to make people go, holy shit, okay, they're really pushing this, but it works.
It was quite like that with the first one as well. Like,
I think that was more shocking with the first one, because in the first one, obviously, Joel's daughter dies straight away. I mean, if you haven't played the first one, it's been out for 8 years. Get a grip.
8 years? What?
Yeah, no, seriously, it's been 8 years.
How long has Last of Us 2 been in development?
About 4.5, 5 years.
Oh, I'm glad they took their time.
Like, literally, yeah, but that's Naughty Dog for you, they will craft something to this. But with this one, they've definitely pushed it a bit further. There's, I think, I'm not going to spoil anything, mainly because I want the game to be out for at least a month. So in another 4 episodes of our podcast, then I'll talk about spoilers and stuff. So it gives people time, or maybe I'll do a separate little talk with Sean and you maybe about it. But it's
very new. It only came out yesterday, literally. As we're recording.
So I would say definitely shocking. It's got that Walking Dead factor of when Negan came into it. I'll say that much. That was either loved or hated that moment.
Yeah.
And it's very much the same with this game. You're either going to look at it and go, holy shit, I love this, but I hate it at the same time, but you love it enough to just carry on, or you're going to put the controller down and go, nope, don't like where they're going with this. I don't even want to look at this. But yeah, no, I love it so far. Not a single complaint. I think I've come across one bug, which was that it was telling me that an area I'd searched had been searched when it clearly hadn't been. It took like an upgrade off me, but that was one thing out of the 5 hours I've played of it so far, and that was
pretty decent.
That's not too bad. I was still right next to the area.
Considering it launched on Friday?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
So not a single graphical glitch, and for a game of that size, magnitude, and graphical look,
I was going to say
that's insane.
That's better going than Fallout 76, but we all already knew that anyway.
16 times the detail.
To be honest, I think I could probably code a game by headbutting my keyboard like 80 times, and it would have less bugs than Fallout 76. Within 2 minutes of leaving the vault, I found a Mirelurk stuck in the floor. I mean, come on.
Not to give Fallout 76 too much shit, I think they've done a better job than Massive Entertainment, but that's just me.
They're apparently bringing out seasons next as well.
Yeah, they'll probably. Fallout 76 will have seasons soon.
Dude, you could make a top drums deck of
I think
shit games.
I don't know. We'll end the games discussion on this thing, right? With Fallout 76, because it is very divisive. You either love it or hate it. I'm actually not that bad. I like the game now. I know, Sean, you've grown to like it as well because of Wastelanders and stuff. If they brought out a sort of pass kind of thing, but did like a free one with maybe 25 levels, maybe not the greatest of things, but a few like skins, maybe like some crafting gear and stuff you could get in it. Would you get it? Honestly, just to maybe spice the game up if it made it a bit more interesting, because that would help. Think about it. That would fix the grindy problem of it, because you'd be getting crafting stuff from that. You'd get free skins and stuff then from the store, so that would also fix the shitty microtransaction thing they have, because they're giving you something.
A lot of exploits they need to like get rid of. Like I've seen people like put down their camp and they've got like a tower the size of like
Trump Tower.
Yeah, the size of something big, big tower made of crates.
Yeah,
just like make the settlement bigger. I'm just like, why? Why have you built a giant penis out of crates? You were meant for more than this.
Yeah, I know on PC they're having trouble with the people hacking it and taking all your items off you, but that's on PC. But
yeah, I think PC is always going to be tricky for Bethesda because it's such a passionate mod. Like they have the modding stuff anyway, but I think Fallout 76 kind of fucked them with that a bit. You know, PC players love mods, man. I personally can't be asked to install them for Fallout 3 and New Vegas. It takes forever, but
I didn't expect there to be any mods for Fallout 76 purely because of the fact that it is online. But I at least expected something that was functional.
Well,
Fallout first.
they could fix Fallout 76 mod problems by doing one thing: give people private servers without having to pay £100 a year. And they're not even private servers because they're still being fucking used. Because then you could have a private server with your mates to play mods or whatever, like, or have modded servers.
I mean, you could honestly just go peer to peer at that point and have like people being able to make like their own little servers with their friends. Peer-to-peer connection.
Mad.
Yeah. I mean, you just saying uttering the words peer to peer gives me PTSD. This reminds me of when Frona didn't have dedicated servers, and you'd be playing, and you'd be beating the shit out of someone, and they'd be like, "I don't like getting killed," and then they'd leave, and then the entire server would crash. He's like, "Great, thanks,
that's what,
thanks,
Friday the 13th used to have.
I mean,
like that.
Friday the 13th used to have people leaving games all the time. Anyway, let's move on to films and TV.
There was one last thing, because I don't really have that many films to talk about, but PS5 price. What do we think about that?
So, what is the price of it? Because I saw a rumour going around that it was going to be $699, which I think, looking at the specs and stuff, I think is pushing it a bit. But I said this to Sean last week. I think they did that again as a publicity stunt, like they did with PS4, to see how people's reactions were. Because when the PS4 price got leaked for the first time, they lowered it by like £100 because they wanted to see what people thought. So I think they did that again. That's just a speculation. There's no fact in that.
There is no proper price that's been released. I think Amazon had it on pre-order for like $479.
Yeah, $479 for pre-order. That's not too bad.
And then £100 less for the digital.
Go. Fuck out of here.
Split out.
Shoo. Get the fuck out. Thanks for joining, Mark.
Yeah.
Love
nice
you. Oh, that was nice to have my cousin here for a little bit. I'll have like a proper one with him or something at some point. But
yeah.
Spontaneous joining.
Spontaneous addition. Well, we've always wanted to have more people on it, so.
There you go. Start with the family. Keeping it in the family as you do.
Where's my sister go?
Yeah.
Cool. £100 less for a disc driveless one. So what do you think? Is that like too much?
I fucking called it. I said they'd make the discless drive one cheaper. Fucking called it. I knew it. That's the only reason they've done it. Is because of that.
Yeah, with the discless one, they're kind of guaranteeing that you're a lifelong customer of buying it directly from them at full price at release.
Yeah. So hold on, they've lowered it by £100.
Well, that's what the rumor is. It's not been properly discovered. But
I don't think they'll lower it by £100. £25 to £50, I think, probably.
According to the Amazon listings, it was £100 cheaper for a digital. Apparently, something about Xbox being like £200 for like.
No, fuck. I think that if they're selling it for 400 and what was it,
79.
479. That I believe is nearly the same. Is that cheaper than a PS4 at release?
I don't know.
No, PS4 might have been 400 quid, so it's like slightly more expensive.
Yeah,
That's surprising to me because I thought it was at least going to be a minimum of 600 quid. Like,
but they can afford to sell it at a bit of a loss if they know they're going to make it up on the games.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think that's the thing with it, isn't it? It's kind of like what they did with the the PS Vita, the PS3.
Yeah.
They had to end up selling like everything off. It was PS Vita, I think, but they had to sell everything at such a discounted price they lost out on money. I think companies are starting to realize, hey, we can sell this and basically make no profit off it, but the sheer number of people that are going to buy it will make a huge profit anyway.
Yeah.
Plus, the exclusives they've got for PS5 are insane.
Yeah.
People are going to want to see the new Horizon. They're going to want to see the Spider-Man stuff. They're going to want to see like all the other games that have been announced and that are going to come out. And I think they're going to be able to pull it off quite well.
Yeah, because PlayStation isn't just the console; it's all brand. It's the games, it's the films,
they've done essentially what the Xbox One did, haven't they? They've gone, hey, we're like an entertainment system now. We're not just gaming. Have a controller.
They've got the controllers. It's the extra storage. It's everything.
Yeah, no, it's good.
The console is just the entry ticket, basically.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's cool, man. I think if they sell it for that price, I'd be shocked, and I would absolutely pick one up on release because that's a shock. What I would say to people though is like, if you're not a big gamer or something, don't pick it up on release. Wait about 3 to 4 months. They tend to start bringing out. What they do is they if you look at like the serial codes on the back of your consoles and stuff, if you have like an old PS4 that came out right at the beginning and like a last gen before the PS4 Pro, you'll see the serial numbers different at the beginning. It's because they bring out different versions of the same console, which is slightly better. So if you're not like that person who wants to pick up one on release because you know you're going to have games for it and stuff that you're going to play the absolute shit out of, or you've got like a 4K telly that it'll work with or whatever, I'd wait about 4 months and you're guaranteed to get a better version of that console then at least. Yeah. So your money will be well spent then. It's not like I'm just going to throw it at the wall, you know?
Yeah, the first people to get them are always the bit of the guinea pigs, really.
Oh my goodness, I'm sorry, sir. I'll tidy my shit up.
So yeah, that's the gaming.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, I didn't actually know about that the PS5 leaks and stuff for the price and stuff. So that's pretty cool.
Oh, there's been so many leaks. Like I don't really want to put too much merit in any of them, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I think I've always had my my suspicions of it being $499 around about that. So
that's quite surprising to me. I obviously thought it was going to be a lot more expensive, but if it is that price, then absolutely, yeah.
I don't think they can make it too expensive because they need to get everyone to have these consoles. If you want to sell them, you need to make sure people can kind of afford them.
Especially if the games as well. Like I can only imagine games are going to get more expensive again. So yeah, no, that's fair. So we're going on to films.
Demographic they want to sell it to is like they're going to have to be able to afford it. Yeah,
like some 10-year-old, like I've got £20. That's not enough. That's not enough. Go home. Go get your mother.
So yeah, we can move on to films if you would like.
Yes, I don't have any more gaming stuff, so absolutely.
I don't have any more gaming stuff. I don't really have any films to talk about because I haven't watched it this week.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I haven't really watched anything either. But I'll say this much: I did watch the Rambo: Last Blood finally, the final Rambo film that's going to be released. Oh yeah. Shit. If you're gonna watch it, don't watch it to see a good film. Watch it for the blood and the action, the badass fight scenes and stuff. Basically, definitely a fucking graphic and gruesome film. Spectacular effects and looks really good. Sylvester Stallone is his normal charismatic self, just about talking about everything, kind of one-dimensional, I hate everyone kind of character. But it's an interesting take.
With, like all of the kind of Expendables crew there.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting take on Rambo because Rambo's obviously was in the war and stuff, so it's like a new take on him. He's old, he's got PTSD, this guy is suffering from that, and he's got to go and essentially save.
Like Schwarzenegger, Terminator.
Yeah, but I mean, it's an interesting one because I can't say the story's any good because it isn't. But it does have its moments of where it does come through and it does show off that it can be a very interesting. You can have like an action flick that's just basically gruesome and gory, but you don't have to kind of. It's not a bad story, but it's not a good one either. You kind of have to give a shit about the character in the first place if you want to enjoy this film.
Yeah.
Or you just really like watching people get hurt, like really hurt.
Fair enough. If you like it, that's like a bit like Last of Us.
I'm sure I'm not going to spoil it for anyone because no fucker's going to watch it because this film was panned when it came out. But there's a scene essentially where he stabs this guy in the collarbone and then rips his collarbone out, and you can see it in the sound effects and just the visuals of it. I almost I almost threw up, and I'm pretty good with gore, but that shit was
Jesus,
rough.
How are you going to throw up when you played Last of Us?
No, I'm fine. I've been fine through that. I was shocked.
It's alright if it's CGI.
I've been shocked to fuck, but you know, it was still, it's still good. But yeah, other than that, I haven't really played anything.
Well, I think cinemas are going to reopen in July. Just a bit of, related to the lockdown stuff. I think it was Odeon that said like they're going to reopen in July, so that'll be interesting. Do you think you'll have to wear masks and stuff?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They won't let you in if you don't have a mask, and it'll be kind of like a thing of like there's. Can you imagine how difficult it's going to be able to get into like a viewing or something? Like they're going to be like 6 seats apart.
Yeah, they're not going to have the same capacity.
Yeah.
And you're not going to be selling popcorn and stuff. People are like, oh, I'm going to eat my popcorn with a mask on. You're not going to have popcorn.
You'll have nothing. If you want popcorn, bring your own. Do you reckon that's going to be the only time they go, you can bring your own fucking treats? Go on.
Well, always have done anyway. And
always have as well.
We're all rebels, we are.
To be fair, they don't really check you. In Wales, I think they know if they were like, can we look for your bag, miss? I think in Wales, you just get a slap off the woman.
That's great.
Can we look in your bag? Bitch! Yeah.
So that should be a good boom for the film industry and the cinema industry.
Yeah, it'd be good because I think when stuff like that starts opening up as well, I think people are going to stop being so pissed off and annoyed at the world, and they're going to come to be a bit happier.
Yeah, well, that's what they did during the war and stuff. But cinema was a way for them to escape like all the depression and stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So when they start opening up the entertainment side of things, which they already are kind of doing. So.
Oh, actually, that is one thing I was going to debate with you very quickly. It is kind of like a news, politics, whatever thing, but it's. Do you reckon, because of the financial debt in the UK and stuff now, obviously building money back up, do you reckon they're actually going to talk to Amazon and Google and be like, pay your fucking taxes? Or do you think they're still going to be like, no, it's fine, you work for America, fuck you?
I think that kind of elitism will still continue, they're not going to...
It's a shame.
It's always the rich that are on top, isn't it? So
it's ridiculous. They should be paying the taxes in the UK, but they don't. And it's fucking... If anything, they get tax rebates, which makes no fucking sense. They don't pay anything.
So, well, Trump only cares really about the money, and Boris and the Conservatives only really care about the money. They kind of keep the big guys rich and the poor guys poor. That's just the ethos of it. But yeah,
bullshit. Absolute bullshit.
But yeah, we won't focus on that too much.
Yeah, that's bullshittery. Yeah. Okay.
I think we should move on then.
So we haven't got a conspiracy theory. We're not talking about ghosts. We're going to just debate some stuff. Just because I think it could be fun. It's a more natural kind of thing to do in a podcast. It's just bring up a topic, talk about it, and move on kind of thing.
Yeah, proper loose men style.
Yeah, so proper just off the cuff. So things might last us 2 minutes. They might last us an hour. It depends how we feel about the thing.
Well, bloody hope not. I'm joking.
I hope not. I've been here long enough, man. So the first one that I was going to debate is about tattoos, and because obviously I love tattoos, but I was going to talk to you about kind of some rules and stuff about tattooing. So like, what do you think the legal age for a tattoo should be? Out of curiosity, like your honest opinion of it. What age do you think you should be like? Yeah, you can have a tattoo now.
I agree with 18, which I believe is the law in this country.
Yeah.
So.
Some places. I don't know. It'd be pretty hypocritical for me to say anything above 15, since my first tattoo was when I was 15. But
and not in why.
But I would say, 18, if not 21. Mainly because I'd say for why. I know it's hypocritical of me because I've had loads of fucking tattoos before I was 21. But the reason I say that, and I'm quite lucky in the sense I had a pretty good head on my shoulders when I was a kid, so all the tattoos I've got I'm very happy with. But there are kids out there who get writing all up their forearm or a really stupid fucking tattoo. But it's because you're young. And I think the rules used to be something like if you were 16, you could have a tattoo as long as your parents signed for it.
Yeah.
No. I do not care the mother, the father, whoever can sign for it. That is not going on your body, it's on your child. Your child needs to know they want the tattoo and they're happy with it.
Yeah.
If they don't like it, no. No.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know what you want, especially as well. Like, you're not fully developed until you're 25. That's when your brain stops developing.
No. I'm 26, I you developed.
I'm like, you're essentially going to be the person you are now is the person you'll most likely be for the rest of your life, right? Nothing's really going to change. I'm 24 this year.
Sad and lonely. No joke.
that's my life, man. That's my life. I'm 24 this year, and like, if I look back now to when I was like 18, when I was having tattoos and things like that, like, some of the shitty ideas that I had when I was 18 or 16 were like awful. If I had them as tattoos, I'd be ashamed. Kind of awful. So
I've never really been that much of an impulsive person, so I do have one tattoo, and I got it when I was 19, I think. I'm happy with it at the moment. I'm glad I did go through a stage of wanting more, but I'm kind of glad I didn't kind of just act on those impulses and go for another one, because I may have regretted it.
Yeah.
And I would never get like names or anything, because I suppose by the time you're 21 to 25, you kind of know who your friends.
Yeah.
And you're kind of more developed in the social skills to kind of know not to get names, or if you're going to get a name, get it as like something that's not going to change.
I think I would only ever get, if I was going to get a name, I would get my mum's name or my kids' names. That's it.
Yeah, they're not going to change.
That's never going to change. I love my mum. That's not going to fucking change. I would happily get Marcus's name on me as well, but I've got my back piece is going to have my cousin Marcus, my mum, and my granddad linked on it anyway. So that's another story for another time. But yeah, no, I absolutely agree. Names and stuff are, in my opinion, I would never have that. I would never have my partner's name on me or anything, mainly because that shit can change very quickly. I have got tattoos on me. Like, I've got a shared tattoo, like the one on my middle finger. I share it with my mate Ben. He passed out doing that tattoo. You bitch. But yeah, I've got a tattoo on my wrist, obviously. You know the story behind this one. But I don't hate it. I still love it.
You'll have to do a YouTube video, like a tattoo talk.
Oh, I'd love to do that. Because the weird thing is like, I'm actually, there you go. This is my question that I'd give to you then, Sean. What advice would you give to someone if they wanted a tattoo? Like, they've just turned 18, they're legal now, they can go and have a tattoo, they can get whatever they want. What would be kind of your advice to people that want tattoos?
Well, I guess number one, don't let it be a name to start with.
Don't have a name on you. Just don't do it.
Just don't go too mad with it. As something small to start with, I suppose, discreet.
Yeah.
You need to get used to. You may not like the pain. You may not like the experience of it. Yeah, something small and kind of harmless, I don't think is a problem. But if you're gonna go for a massive chest piece or something, try and really think about it.
Yeah. No, yeah, I think that's.
Did you really want this?
Yeah, no.
Or is it just because of the trend?
I think for me, I would never have something on my body if it didn't mean something to me. And I knew it would always mean something. So regardless of what happens in my life, I know that's a special moment that I'll remember. I was quite lucky. My first tattoo was this one. So it was quite a generic cross. So it wasn't anything...
Oh, I didn't realise you were a Christian.
There you go. It's a Celtic cross, all right? Yeah, okay. No, yeah, I think... Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think don't get a name on you for your first one. Don't get a big thing. Maybe get something... And oh, God, please, for the love of fuck, if you're going to get a tattoo, do not have it on just an open... Oh, fuck, that's going to sound like awful later. When I'm fucking editing to dunk. Don't get like something like in the middle of your arm or just in the middle of like a part of your body that's going to mess up if you want to fill it up later. Cause
try and choose a place on your body which isn't the most painful. Like
I would say top of your arm. If you're going to get a tattoo for the first time, top of your arm, maybe the top part of your shoulder on your back. Those two prominent places, or on your leg or something, because at least that way it's just you that sees it.
Did you tell your mum or anything about getting your tattoo before you got it?
I asked her, when I was 15, I asked my mum permission. She had to sign a document. It was not done.
Maybe
legally.
Different in Wales then.
I'll be honest, it was not done legally. I had it done in a complete stranger who tattooed me. I didn't know him. I had it done in his house, and he used a kettle. He used a kettle to sterilize the needles. I would never advise someone ever. I was so lucky with my first tattoo.
Go to a professional place as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Don't get it until you're 18. It's not worth it. Like, the risks are way too high. Like, if you get an infection, you're fucked. Like, I was very lucky. I didn't look after my first tattoo. I didn't wash it, and like nothing. I completely fucked it. And yeah, it's still to this day. The color has stuck. It looks fine. It's not ugly. You know, it's just a bit wonky. But yeah, no, I got very, very lucky with my one. But yeah, no, my mum knew. I asked her before I had it. Because the guy was like, I'm not going to tattoo you unless you get your mum's permission. So I was like, oh, fuck, you know. So I rang her up. I was like, hey, mum, you know, can I get a tattoo? And she was like, from where? And I was like, well, this guy's house. And she was like, a guy's house? You taking a piss? And I was like, please. I remember I was begging her on the phone for like half an hour. And she was like, yeah, sure. So I had to go back. I got her to sign like her signature and stuff. And he even went on the phone with my mum and was like, I'm just putting like a cross on him, like explains that. He was a nice enough guy, but it just wasn't like a sterile or safe atmosphere. Like, I shouldn't have done it. I think it took like 3 hours. Didn't feel it. He was very good as the tattoo. I got lucky. Like I said, I got incredibly lucky. I wouldn't advise anyone doing that, especially at 15, because when I went to school then, because the reason I knew about it was one of my friends in school had got tattooed. He had like writing up his forearm, and it looked horrendous. And it was there was 2 words that were misspelled. So, that's still on his body to this day.
Yeah, this is why words are not great.
Yeah, no, be very, very, very cautious with words. I mean, I got words on my hand, but I got like again. I
don't know who's doing it if you might be dyslexic or something.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But yeah, no. When I went to school, we both got called to the office, and when I got called in, the headmaster was kind of, or the headmistress, I should say, was kind of like, "Where's your tattoo then?" And I sort of showed her my arm. She went, "Oh, at least you had it in a place where I can't see it." Yeah. And she went, at least, and this is a quote, this is a fucking direct quote, my head teacher, I was 15, she went, at least you have a nice tattoo.
Where'd you get that done?
I was like, again, everything for some reason that, like with my tattoo when I was 15, it just added up. It was pure luck. You know, I was very, very lucky to have someone that at least was passionate about tattooing and wanted to make the design look nice. And, you know, didn't act like a twat about it. He was very careful with how he tattooed me, where he placed it. It was just unfortunate I put on a load of weight and lost it. That's why it's crooked. But yeah, no. My other thing would be like research your tattoo artists as well. Like, I know it can be exciting when you want to go and get your first tattoo if you love tattoos or whatever, but research. If you're going to someone, look at their portfolio, look at their work. Don't just be like, oh, can you tattoo this on me? It won't turn out well. If they don't do that style, it's going to look like ass. So, and let them have creative freedom. Fuck.
Yeah. I suppose, and one more thing to add is if you're 18 and you want to get a tattoo, think about where you want it as well, because I know a lot of older generations will say, oh, you know, you can't be getting jobs when you're looking like that. If you're starting like a career, I suppose you kind of want somewhere you can cover it up, you know.
Yeah. I think
because although looks aren't everything when it comes to careers and stuff, like it does make a little bit of a difference to
I think
first impressions, you know.
The weird thing is if you talk to any tattoo artist or anyone who normally has tattoos, they will tell you start from the top and work your way down. Do not start at your hands and work your way up. But I chose tattoos anyway. Like, I knew I wanted to be covered, so I know I'm going to have my neck done. I'm never having my face done. Fuck that. But yeah, no. If you're going to have tattoos in a visible spot, this day and age, it won't really affect you too much getting a job and stuff. But you do have to be careful because it will cut out
some
certain
people will
areas.
Still be of the opinion that, you know,
exactly.
tattoos equals bad, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're going to get tattoos in visible spots, be prepared for people to ask you about the tattoos. Like, people are going to be like, oh, where'd you get that then? Or why have you got that? Or, you know, it does happen. Like, people think it doesn't, but it happens all the fucking time. That's why if ever I go out on a night out or something, I'm guaranteed to be asked about my fucking tattoos. And you get bored of answering the bloody question. Yeah. But no, I think if you want tattoos, get them. You know, they're fine.
I've just got one, and I'm quite happy with that at the moment. I didn't catch the bug to get, you know, my whole body covered. But yeah.
But I think this is the weird thing. Ever since I was like really young, like 10, I was like, I'm going to be covered in tattoos. My mum was like, you're 10. You don't know what you want. And I'm 23 to this day, and I'm still like, no, I will be covered. Like, if you love tattoos, there's nothing that's really going to stop you, but make sure what you've got is what you love.
Yeah, you used to get a little head tattoos.
I used to draw myself in school. I used to cover my arms, everything. I'd get people, like friends that were good at art, to cover me in them.
Just like all your exam answers. Can I borrow you out?
What's that, James? It's no tattoo. The
It's
answer
Pythagoras' theorem.
why does it say 2 and then the answer word? Oh, it's just coincidence. Wash it off. I can't. It's a tattoo. Get away with it, you know. But it doesn't work like that. But yeah, just be careful with the choices and stuff. And another thing as well. Last thing on tattoos, and then we'll move on to something else. I don't want to bore you, but don't expect tattoos not to be cheap, because they're not. Tattoos are expensive. Don't fucking try to haggle with someone. There's a reason they are the price they are. Just
obviously, the bigger they are, the more expensive.
Yeah. Be respectful as well, because a lot of tattoo artists could charge a fuck ton more, but they don't. So just be respectful with it.
And polite.
Yes. Anything that comes to mind that you would like to have a discussion about? Because I've got other stuff, but just in case.
I've got one, but it's like so different now.
Go on. No, I like this. I like
this thing.
I like it being different. Yeah.
Right.
Oh god, it can't be that bad. Come on.
Right. Life after death.
Oh, okay.
Do you believe in life after death? I suppose I'll start like from a religion aspect. I'm a Catholic, so that plays a part in it. So obviously, I loosely believe in like heaven and hell, stuff like that.
That's going to shock some people that you're Catholic, by the way, with some of the conversations we have.
Well, religion to me is a bit like the lockdown rules. It's open to interpretation.
No, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair, man. I like that.
But yes, so I loosely believe in like heaven and hell and stuff like that. So I believe like there is a kind of paradise where you can go to after you die, which has got all your favorite things, all your favorite people, your favorite place, that is where you've earned the right to be there if you live a good life.
Oh, okay, fair.
What do you think happens when you die?
Honestly, I don't. Honestly, my honest answer, I used to believe in heaven and hell up until I was about, I think, 18, 19. I kind of thought there was two areas, and then there was like a purgatory area in the middle. That was my belief. Now I don't know. I definitely believe in an afterlife and ghosts. Obviously, we've talked about that. I'm very, very fucking believing in that, and I really, truly believe that's a thing. Do I think there is a heaven and a hell? I would personally say no. I believe more in reincarnation, that you come back as something else to give back to the world. I think you come back as either an animal or another human to try and, live a different life and a different experience. I think that's kind of why people have like these weird... I know there's like documentation of people saying they remember their past lives and stuff. There's never been any evidence of it, obviously, but as far as I know. But yeah, no, I kind of believe in reincarnation and kind of spirits and afterlife. That's where my belief is.
Yeah, I do like that kind of reincarnation kind of thing. What would you be reincarnated as? What would you like to be?
If I had a choice, I don't know. I would either want to come back as a human, like another person, but completely different. I'd want to live a completely different life and different experiences. Obviously I wouldn't remember the fucking past one anyway, so it's not like it would matter. Or come back as like an animal, or a part of nature. I know in Buddhism they truly believe like cows are sacred, and you've got like trees and things. They're very passionate about that, and so I'm very much on that end of the spectrum, I would say.
Yeah.
What kind of... So, is it just like sort of your religion that made you have those, or kind of led you to those beliefs, I should say, not have, but kind of led you to...
I suppose, it's kind of drilled into you, I suppose, and I suppose the whole religion came from my dad's side. I mean, my mum was also Catholic, but not as strong as my dad, like an Irish mum, an Irish gram.
An Irish, she'd be Irish. He's all the top of the world at it.
We used to go over at Christmas and we couldn't open our presents till we went to church.
Yeah, you have to go to church first and then you get to open your presents from Santa.
My mum was like, I don't like this, but my dad was into it. So yeah, that's where the kind of religion came from. But yeah, I suppose, it's just something you believe, I suppose.
Yeah.
Having a bit of faith and, thinking there's a higher power. And bit of I like the idea of having a heaven.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Is it's like I've always said, like people are like, oh well, because I passed RE in school and people were shocked at it. They were like, how did you pass RE? You of all people, James. I'm like, cheers. No, I find it fascinating learning about all the different things that people believe in. And I think it's more interesting to be educated on different opinions and views, because then it's easier to make your own kind of beliefs and your own views of stuff. So there's stuff from Christianity that I actually sort of listen to. There's stuff from Buddhism that I listen to. Like, I'm not a religious person even in the slightest, but it's kind of things that I think are fair and I think I like and I believe in. It's like, if someone else has a different view from me, I don't see why that's a problem, you know. Like, I think everyone's entitled to believe what they want, and, you know, more power to people who want to believe in stuff.
A lot of Christianity and stuff like that, the like disciple, well, the commandments, that's the one. They're basically
I forgot what they were for a second.
It's basically like loosely based around the laws of this country anyway. So like, so it's just basically principles to be a good person. So yeah.
Oh, fair.
But there are, like, as far as like God is concerned, I don't know if there's like I kind of have trouble with believing in his kind of, I don't know. It's kind of difficult to say.
Yeah.
But there are kids with cancer on this planet, you know. So like, how does that link in with his vision and stuff like that? So there are aspects I don't agree with.
Yeah.
But you know, you take the good stuff and apply it to your life, and that is.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? That is what religion is. It's like how, like, I have friends that are Christian. I have friends that aren't. I have friends that are different religions, and some are much more questionable. But I think that as long as you're not hurting anyone, you're entitled to believe what you believe. You're entitled to your opinion. That's all part of freedom of speech and all that stuff as well. And I think, why, if you're not hurting anyone, why is it a problem what you believe in? That's where my question comes from. Yeah, if you're one of those assholes that's going to walk up to me and come up to my house and be like, you should join this religion because we are special, then you can fuck off. But, you know, I've sat and had many a conversation. I've gone to church, like, and I find it a fascinating thing. Like, it's not something I could do every week, but going every now and then, I find it to be quite a relaxing place to be. It's so calm, and there are things that obviously happen within every religion that I don't agree with.
Yeah.
But you know, that's not the reason I have my beliefs.
Yeah, that's just the extremists and the 1% that give everyone else a bad name.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and you shouldn't just focus your beliefs off of 1% of idiots. You know.
What was I going to say? Oh yeah, there are also, like, putting the religion things aside, like the groups that brings a lot of people together who are nice, and I know my granddad's part of this like bowling club, which is like, it's set in a church hall or something, and he says like the people there are so nice, like they do anything for you, they check in on him because he's on his own. So it's like a community around it as well. It's kind of bigger than almost the faith itself.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's good things around it as well.
Yeah, I think there's good and bad to everything, but I think people sometimes try to make things out worse than they actually are.
Oh yeah.
Which I find to be just weird, but you know, that's just my opinion.
All right, shall we do a 180 and do a different topic?
Yeah, no, my next topic is actually, it's ironic after this one, but sexual education in school. Yay or nay? Or, to put it differently, I guess, should sexual education in school be mandatory and done more than just put a condom on a banana? Use a test tube. Yeah.
Well, they never actually did that for me.
Because out of curiosity, what was your, and I'll say mine as well, but what was your kind of sex education growing up, like in school and things like that? How did you learn about that side of, you know, living?
Literally, the teacher comes in, closes all the curtains, puts
I don't think anyone's seen that.
A VHS player in front of you. You play a video of like this. The penis goes in the vagina.
Oh, you had a video?
Yeah.
We didn't even have that.
Well, it was just like not cartoons, but like images, not real people.
Yeah.
But you know, it's just
illustrations.
Like a animated thing of like, you know, it happening.
You would hentai?
Not that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Scientific hentai. But yeah, and then the teacher would walk back in after the video finished and was like, so, any questions? And everyone like,
mad.
And then that was basically it. I can't really remember much more. Like,
want to know what my
you learn more from your friends and like
from your friends. Have you tried this yet? What's that? Do you know what
Show me.
Do you know what my education was? Porn. That's honestly, that's
God,
the
you
truth
must
of
have a
it.
degree in it by now.
That's the fucking truth of it. Like in school, the closest we got to sex education was one fucking lesson through my entire schooling. By the way, this is 16 years of schooling. One fucking lesson, and I think I was in like year 10, and they were like, here's a banana. Imagine this is your penis. That's a great start already. Imagine your object down below, the thing you pee out of. And girls, a man's thing is a banana. You can chew it. No, you fucking
can peel it
can't.
back and then eat the inside.
Yeah, no. Slip the condom up. There you go. That's how it works. Any questions? No. Fuck off. We're going to carry on. Derek, put your hand down. I'm not telling you anything. That was it. It's such a taboo subject still in schools, and I don't get it. I had to learn. I had to learn through porn and stuff like that, and I had an incident when I was 14 where I was put in a position with a girl that was 2 years older than me, and I had no idea what I was doing. I wasn't prepared. It was a very uncomfortable situation, and yeah, I think I don't understand why I wasn't taught about it and why I wasn't prepped for it. Like, why is it so taboo? Everyone does it. It doesn't matter who you are. Everyone does it, and it's just because you're standing in a front. Like, I think, do you know what I think it is? And this is just speculation, but I think it's just an adult teaching kids about sex, being able to talk about it in depth and a lot of detail on how it works and why it happens and foreplay and oral and whatever. I just don't think...
I'd like to see these lessons.
Yeah, exactly. They don't exist. And the reason they don't is because adults don't know how to talk to kids about it. You tell a kid the penis does this, they start giggling and going, I thought it only peed. Like,
I think they need to start teaching it from a younger age then,
Absolutely,
so it isn't so much taboo. And there are ways to do it, like with kids.
Start doing it from a younger... Like, start in year 7, let's say. And let's say in year 7, there's not a dedicated class to it, but you have a couple of lessons in a year where it's like you learn about the anatomy of the body. And then in year 8 and 9, you kind of go over why it happens. And then in year 10, 11, you explain how it happens, the different things that you do with it. I know it's like can be an awkward thing to talk about, like an adult teaching children how to give oral or have sex properly and the different positions. Like, it's not a comfortable topic. We're British. We don't like talking about it. But it's important because there's a reason that so many young people get STIs. Because they don't know. They just watch porn and go, that's safe, that's clearly how you do it. And it's like, no, there's no condom. Fucking wear something.
Yeah.
And
these two, like, refined actors and stuff.
And that's another thing then. It leads on to people thinking they have to look a certain way. Oh, that man has a six-pack and looks like the Hulk. I need to look like that. It's like, and then girls are like, oh, I need to be super skinny like her. And it's like, no.
Yeah. No body hair inside.
You can still have sex no matter your size. no matter your weight. Like, that doesn't play into it. Like, there are limits. Don't get me wrong. Like, but it's, I know it's a tricky one. I get it. And it's not easy to probably implement it into schools, but it should be something that's talked about more, I think.
Moving swiftly on. No,
I'm British. We can't talk about this, James. It's not normal. It's not okay. You didn't approve this with me.
This has not gone past the approval process. No, it's good to talk about it.
I think just in like, I think another part of it as well, just quickly before we move swiftly on to something else. But I think now, especially more than ever, like gay and lesbian and the trans community and that kind of stuff, that should be talked about in sex education as well.
Yeah.
I think it can be quite confusing, don't get me wrong, especially if you're younger, but it's such an integral part of everyday life now that it has to be taught. And can you imagine if you're taught from a young age about this stuff? Imagine how much less bigotry there would be. Imagine how much less isolation to certain groups there would be, because it would suddenly be normal.
Oh yeah,
like
I know. In school, when I was in school, it's like literally, you didn't exist if you were like gay or anything. It's like the word gay was used as a bad word.
You kissed a girl, that's gay. That kind of shit.
Yeah, you're gay.
It's like
so that's not something that needs to be grown
that
up.
doesn't add up. I kissed a girl, so I'm gay. That makes no sense.
Gay.
Like, I think for a while there was the joke like, oh, if you're a boy, you're a lesbian. That is not how it works. Like, I don't know. There's a lot to it, man. I think it's a much more important thing that should be talked about more personally, in my opinion. But
it should be a whole subject in the syllabus. Yeah,
absolutely.
From a younger age, like year 6, 7, they should be starting to, or maybe even younger. I think there are campaigns to do it from younger than that. So,
like I said, I think year 7's a good place to start. 8 and 9 is kind of starting teaching how it works, and then 10, 11 is like in depth. Kind of, you have to know this stuff because it's what's going to keep you safe, what's right, what's not right, what's okay, what's not okay, what's normal, what isn't normal. Although there's no such thing as fucking normal, but you get where I'm going with it. Like sensible stuff and unsensible stuff. Like don't have sex on the Leaning Tower of Pisa. You're probably not going to get out of there without being arrested. But don't do it in public. People might see you.
yeah.
But yeah, no, that's kind of my view on it.
Yeah, I think definitely teach it more in schools and all aspects of it. I know there's like protests like you can't teach LGBT things to my kids, but it's like so grow up, get into the 21st century.
That's like men who just don't like the idea of their child being gay.
Yeah, and elitist Christians.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, mums that don't want their little boys to learn about it. It's like, do you think he's always going to be a mummy's boy? Because there's certain things he can't do with you. Unless you're a sick fucker.
Yes, to have the Oedipus complex or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, shall we do like one more topic? I think you feel free to choose one because I don't have another one.
Yeah, I can grab one quickly. So we've done an education one. We've kind of done a social one, I guess.
Did you want to talk about death penalty or something? Or?
Actually, that is one on here somewhere. Let me try and find it because I got like a list up. The death penalty should be abolished. I'll be honest, I have views. I have views, but go on.
Ultimately, I would say. Wait, what was the question? Should
the death penalty be abolished, like completely gone, never to be used again? Or do you think there's circumstances where it could be used, or should be used even?
I think it doesn't really have a place in society today. But the UK, I know UK, obviously, the last death penalty in the UK was in 1964. It was a hanging.
Trust
I think that there are kind of, I don't know, I was talking to my granddad about it, and he was saying, hanging should be brought back because he was a prison officer, and he worked at the prison where this last hanging took place.
Oh, okay, interesting.
I think he was actually, working there at the time.
That'd be a fascinating story to hear.
So he's very pro, not brutality, but strict measures against the prisoners.
Yeah.
So he thinks the death penalty should come back in this country at least, because it's just ultimately a good deterrent for crime. Crime is out of control in this country, and
in a lot of areas, yeah.
It's just thinking like if you do this, you could be killed. That would be enough to put a lot of people off doing stuff.
most people anyway.
But I don't think it has a place in today's society. It's kind of a bit outdated. It's a bit barbaric. It's like not really something we should be doing to other humans in a civilized society. But I mean, I can see the benefits of it being a deterrent, definitely.
Yeah.
What is your view?
Well, I have very specific views because I do agree that I think it is an extreme thing, but I don't think it should be completely abolished now. I think there are certain circumstances which warrant it, and not, I get it, right? Not everyone's going to agree with these, but this is what I believe. I think if you've killed someone, you have no place in society, like at all. If it was manslaughter or self-defense, then fine. You serve your time, you come out, but you've got that on your record. If you are just a straight-up murderer, or you're jealous of like your ex or something, so you go out and kill them, fuck you. Like, you do not deserve a place in this fucking world. And quite frankly, you should. You took a human life, so now you don't deserve the rest of yours. I get the idea of like, no, the people should be in prison because they're having their life taken away from them day by day by having to serve the time. Have you seen the sentences they will put someone down for murder? They don't even fucking touch... Some of these sentences don't even touch their lives. It's like, what? You killed someone who was really young, like in their 20s, and you're going to serve maybe 20 to 30 years?
And that is counted as like life, isn't it?
Which is Fuck. Yeah, that makes no sense to me. So I think if you've murdered someone, no, and it wasn't self-defense or manslaughter. Let me stress that. If you're defending yourself and that person died from the result of you defending yourself, you still should serve time because you did kill someone, but you didn't do it with the intent of, I just want to kill this person. So serial killers, absolutely. Killers, yeah. The tough one for me, and this is the one that I still question to this day, because I don't know whether this is extreme enough, but is, I'm going to say it, paedophiles, right? They should be killed. I'm sorry, but they should. They should have the death penalty. I don't care. Maybe serve like a certain amount of time in prison and then they have the death penalty, but they should. That is disgusting and despicable. Okay, I get it.
Some would argue that it's like an illness.
Yeah, no, I get it. And that was the part I was about to get onto, which is, I get it. There are mental health specialists that work in that field to help people. So this is my idea. It'll never get picked up. I'm no one. So, yeah, it's fine. I can give my idea. But put them in jail. If they're caught, put them in jail. If they haven't done it to like 1,000 children, or a fucking high number, I know that's an exaggerative number, but like a high number of children, then put them in a cell, get them evaluated by a specialist who specializes in that field, talks to them, and, you know, if they are unsavable and they are just going to act on these impulses all the time, death penalty. If not, and they can be brought back into society after serving a hell of a long time in prison, but they get the mental health help they need to be a better person and get away from those urges so they can live a healthy, normal life. And also to stress this part as well, if they just have the urges but never act on them but go and get help, then that's fine. You know, as long as they get help and they can live a normal, healthy, happy life, no quarrel with them. It's the people that just repeatedly, over and over and over do it. They shouldn't be allowed to be on this earth. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
They're hurting kids, and that is not okay.
No. It's a tough one.
That one is a hard one, right? I get it, because it is like a mental health thing as well, and that's why I suggest, like, if they, and this is something, I get it, there are a lot of people who are like, oh, if they like kids anyway, they should go to jail. That's not how it works. Just get them mental health help, let them have a mental health specialist talk to them, and help them through their illness, so they get better, and they can live a normal life. Fine. That should be enough. You know, but people don't come forward when they need the help with that stuff because they know they're going to get isolated and judged and shit. And even most counsellors will report them. That's the problem with the system that's in place. One of the rules of counselling is if a child is assaulted, you have to report it. Absolutely. But what if a child hasn't been reported and they come to you saying this stuff?
Is it like if they fear someone else is going to be hurt by you?
At that point, it becomes it's what's called ambiguity. I can't fucking say the words. Ambiguity. Oh fuck. Ambiguity or something like that. I can't say the word. But it's like essentially it comes down to the counsellor. If they think that this person is going to go and offend, they can go and tell the police, and the person will be arrested and valued or whatever. If they even if they've killed someone, it's up to the counsellor. They don't have to tell, but they should. That comes under a moral thing. And most counsellors, like I think it's like 97% or something of counsellors that get told that someone is scared they're going to hurt a child, they'll go and report them. But what if they haven't? You have an opportunity to help this person be able to get out of that habit and get out of that mindset. Teach them why it's not okay. And at least, I know it's a risk because obviously you are essentially letting someone who could be a possible danger to their surrounding back into society. But you have an opportunity to help this person. Do it. Don't just fucking report them, you know, because that's not going to help them. They're going to end up in jail or something or in some fucking psych ward. That's not going to make them better. You know, they need one-to-one counselling and help if they haven't already hurt or affected someone. Simple. If they've done it already, fuck them. Fucking throw them in jail. Tough shit. You couldn't even be bothered to go and try and get help. You're fucking sick. Otherwise, you know, help the people, you know. Don't just fucking throw them under the bus.
Yeah.
But that's kind of my view on it, you know. It's a tough one. It's a tough one, but it's... I like tackling and talking about subjects like this.
Yeah, they need to be talked about more, because otherwise no one will have a clue about what to do with these people. Yeah.
Exactly. I think it's an important topic that should be touched on, but
yeah, I think moving away from sex offenders slightly.
Yes, let's move away from that topic.
Going back to the prisons, I suppose. I think they definitely need to be a bit more strict in prisons. Like, I mean, have you seen some prisons? They're basically like hotels.
Yeah.
Like, the prison needs to be a place where they don't want to be. You know, there's a lot of homeless people and stuff that kind of just want to commit crime to go into prison because it's a nicer place to be.
Free bed, free meals.
Yeah, I mean, some of my family members work in prisons, and they get access to Wi-Fi, they get a little job, they get everything. Free meals a day, you know, and if they're bad, they get 30 minutes less internet. That's the punishment. So prison needs to be a place where they really kind of fear going, you know.
I think
rather than death penalties, I suppose. I don't know.
I think it's like a double-edged sword as well, though, because they're so understaffed in prisons that they just kind of give the prisoners what they want, so they don't riot or get pissy or assault someone. Like, that's happened so many times, and unfortunately, I know your sister works as a prison warden, right? I think it is a sad thing, but it happens a lot. It's female wardens and stuff are treated like shit by the inmates half the time. I don't know if your sister has any horror stories or anything.
Well,
but like they're like wolf whistling, and because they're predominantly, and it's not fully, but predominantly, if you go to a prison, you're gonna see segregated women and men. They're not going to be together, and most of the time, because of how understaffed they are, they have to put women on men's stuff as well. And that can turn bad. And it's the same for putting men on female wards, you know. So
yeah, she works in an all-male prison. It's not like the highest category offenders; it's like kind of lower ones.
Yeah.
But she kind of would say a bit of the opposite. She would say that there's a bit of a bro code in there. Like, you don't shout at women, you don't do this to women.
Respect for them.
If someone wolf whistles at her, she'll find that the other inmates come to her help almost.
Yeah.
Whereas men are a bit like ready for a bit of a fight. You know?
Yeah. I think the weird thing about it is like. I think that pretty much only happens in like really, really bad prisons. So like if you go to a place where it's serial rapists or killers and things, that I think at that point they don't care because they're already fucked, so they don't care. But like as your sister working in like a low level kind of one, they have more respect and much kinder. But yeah, no, I think it's understaffed. They should definitely.
A wild prisoner. I mean, she's been strangled, she's been hit and like restrained and stuff. Like, she has to restrain people on a weekly basis, I would say.
Yeah.
But there's like an alarm they can sound where a group of them can just come together and attack. Well, not attack, but restrain this prisoner.
Yeah, they can't say attack because then that's helping.
Before they even lay a hand on the prisoner, they have to turn on their chest camera. And
no, that's the thing.
I'm going to put my hand on you now.
That should be a thing that's in place anyway. Like, before they even, the moment they get into work and they get into change their uniform, camera should be on them and it should be turned on. Simple.
Yeah.
That way, if you put your hands on a prisoner, there's evidence that you did it for self-defense.
Yeah, that's why they do it,
Fucking simple, You shouldn't have to turn it on halfway through and be like, I'm going to put my hands on you. No, fuck you.
Yeah, because the amount of prisoners that are quite wealthy and they have lawyers and stuff that will do anything to take the prison officers to court and stuff. That's so stupid. Yeah, so that's why they have to wear these cameras.
I think body cams for any kind of officer, whether it's a warden, whether it's an officer that works out in the field, whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You have a body cam. You have a body cam on, and it is turned on at all times, 24/7. I don't care if the battery dies. You have another one that's in there. You fucking put it on. Simple. And they check it on the times to make sure that they did turn it back on at the right time.
Yeah.
Simple. It's not hard, but it's expensive and it's a pain in the ass because then there's more jobs.
Underfunded, understaffed, under everything.
Exactly. I think something like police in like America and Wales now are being told they have to cut budget again. Like, stop cutting the fucking budget if you want them to do a better job. It's as simple as that. They can only do so much, and if you want them to cut the budget, but you want them to wear body cams 24/7, are you going to pay for that, government? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's impossible, So
one of the bad things. This isn't really that related, but one of the awful things they do in prison to some of the prison officers, like the prisoners, they all kind of shit in a bucket and piss, and then they say one of the officers is going to get like dunked or something. And then someone will kind of sneak around and then like throw it all on one of the officers.
Fam, that's grim.
That's grim. Yeah, but my sister actually foiled one of the plans to do that. So she said, "What the hell are you carrying?" And she like managed to stop this guy from dunking one of the other officers there.
That's disgusting.
That's something to do.
That happens. Like a thing that happens in prison a lot, which I know a lot of stuff that happens in UK prisons is kept on the hush hush, especially when it comes to prisoner on prisoner.
Yeah, you never hear about that.
Prisoner on prisoner, you never hear anything because snitches get stitches, which is fucking just part of it, I guess. But feces and urine and bodily fluids.
That is their weapons, you know.
Yeah, bodily fluids. I mean, I'm sure. There were horror. I know I've watched documentaries on it, and there were horror stories from women like, "Oh yeah, no, we'll be told there's like something going on in a cell, and we'll get there, and then this guy's jizzing on us." Like, it's so disrespectful and disgusting. It happens, but it doesn't just happen to women either. It does happen to men as well. Like, it's more often you hear about the stories about women because it's that thing of like gender and whatever. But it happens. It doesn't matter what your gender. I don't think. I think they just kind of do it because they know they can get away with it, and it's like a disgusting shock thing to do. But I think, isn't that like a rule in prison? They're not allowed to masturbate. Isn't that like a rule or something in certain prisons?
I don't really know about that. I think when they're in the private quarters, I think they can do whatever the hell they want.
Just make sure you aim into the toilet and use the tissue afterwards and wash your hands.
If they mess up their room, then that's their problem.
I don't even think about that, man.
They don't get like a maid service to come in. They have to do it themselves. So they have to sleep in that.
Essentially, it's kind of like an army camp as well, if you think about it. Like the rules, the restrictions, you have to keep your place tidy. Sometimes the prison officers, if they find out you've done something wrong, they'll come in, fuck your room up, and you got to clean it. Simple. Although that, again, is something that's kept on the hush-hush. You don't really hear too much about it because that's technically an abuse of power. But yeah, no, there's loads of things that probably happen in prisons that don't get told.
Oh, yeah. And they're so underfunded, understaffed, like we say, and they're not just prison officers. They're like pastoral care, they're mental health specialists. They do everything for these prisoners. So. Yeah,
they do a lot of work and not much pay out of it either. Like they're skint.
Yeah, that is that.
That was a good one. I like this ending part, like just talking about random subjects and topics and stuff. I like that kind of thing. I kind of want to turn this podcast into that kind of thing, as well as still talking about the news and stuff. But that kind of stuff, I don't know how you feel about it, but like
it's good.
It's a multitude of everything, then, isn't it? It's like happy stuff, some more serious stuff, some heavy stuff, whatever. But it's a broad base, so it's like we can hit multiple things.
It's talking about things like we're interested in as well. Because like I have been interested in the conspiracy theories as well, but it seems a bit like reading a bit off of Wikipedia.
Yeah, and it's tricky. And the one thing that I did learn about conspiracy theories and stuff is like the first 2 weeks that we did it, I spent a lot of time in conspiracy theories, and I still didn't get through everything. Like there was still stuff I missed. There was still stuff I didn't, read through about them.
Well, it gets to be a conspiracy theory. It's going to be going on for years and years and years.
Exactly, and there's so many different evidence and things that you've got to try
really summarize it.
Unless you're focusing a lot of time onto that one thing, it's impossible to go through everything. There's things you miss and misrepresent sometimes. So it was just nicer just to do this. So
anyone who watches it, let us know if you like this format or you prefer conspiracy theories. We will.
Yes. Maybe we'll still have like conspiracy theories every now and then, but it won't be like a big staple thing at the end. It'll be like a thing we go over and be like, "What's your opinion on this thing?" Without any context or evidence. But yeah. We're always evolving this. This is always evolving and changing, and that's why I've got a new mic. It's why I'm hoping to do more kind of stuff, having people on, like we had my cousin on earlier. That was just random, by the way. That wasn't planned. No. That's why it was so fucking unorganized and awful. But I want to do more stuff like that. Next time Sean's down, we'll have like a proper podcast face-to-face, cameras. Yeah. You'll have a nice posh microphone as well. Yeah. It'll be wonderful. So yeah, if you guys like this format, let us know. If you want to join us on, let us know. And again, if there's anything you ever want us to talk about or any questions or topics, let us know. It'll be beautiful.
So yeah, I think that's a good time to end it.
Yeah, no, that is it, man. We have nothing else to talk about. So yeah, if you enjoyed this episode, remember smash the like button. Thank you very much for watching. Again, thank you to Sean for joining me for this episode. As always, it's always fun.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Love you very much.
It's great to be here.
It's always fun to talk to you about some dark subjects and some more awkward subjects, because we're British.
Some funny ones.
We're so awkward and British. But yeah,
moving swiftly on.
I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you very much. We'll catch you next week for the next episode of the podcast. This was episode 9, right?
Yes.
10 episodes, 10 weeks next week.
The anniversary one.
Jesus. But yeah, thank you guys. We love you very much, and we will see you in the next one.
Peace.
Peace and respect, my dudes.
I am who I'm meant to be. I am who I'm meant to be. Over and out again. My future needed clarity, so I could see